Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. This is where we deconstruct um, biblical references in Genesis of chapter 1, and this is where we're at, of course. It's like, I've just got it. I have just got it. Now, this is the actual thing that has been happening with me, and that I keep going back to Genesis chapter 1. I keep going back to it. And now I am getting the message that has been for about 2 or 3 days, a few days, where Mother Eve, no, I think it was really last week, but Mother Eve was saying you need to tell people that they need to start counting back. Now that was a little bit frightening for me to even say, but I know I have a part of me that needs to honor. I need to honor what which I being guided to do, because I ask for guidance, I ask for help, which is from the said God. So the word said, for instance, which is Mother Eve. Mother Eve is the said God. So in her name, the S is the God who aids us. She's the one of wisdom. She is the serpent. She is the wisest. She is the female of Solomon. In fact, that reminds me, again, we heard that Solomon was the wisest man, and we see that S at the start of, whenever you see that S at the start of any of these words, to be honest, that is Mother Eve being very present there. That person is a wise person, can be cunning, can be witty, can be all sorts of things, because that's the serpent. Whether it was Simeon, Simon, whatever of those names you come with. And of course, it's not to say that she is not in other names, because she is in other letters rather, but very present here. It's that showing that flexibility, but there's also in the middle of it is like she maintains her integrity, where she can also exhibit sternness if she feels she needs to. Okay, so what has just got me the eureka that I've really got, because I do these presentations, and of course I can see all these pieces going well together, but there are a lot of pieces. It's like doing this big Scrabble board game. That's what I see the Bible as now. I see it as a huge Scrabble board, you know, or if I play chess, I probably would say, I have said it is a chess board as well. But because I'm not in fact, I learned to play chess once with my son who taught me, and I didn't play anymore, so I'm not sure that I really remember the rules, but I did win most of the games. He was not happy after teaching me how, and then I won. It was checkmate, checkmate, and I had to remember to say checkmate. So M-A-T-E, I think that's how it's spelled, checkmate. I will be doing, okay, I can every presentation I do, I say I will be doing something, because there's so much unfolding. Okay, but that's what the serpent does. She is like in and out, in and out. So this in and out that we are talking about is that we are going to continue a presentation on the word beginning. So why I'm saying again, I'm going now talking about beginning. I kept going back to Genesis with wanting to begin, and that, my dear people, I have been doing going back to Genesis of chapter 1 for about 3 years now, approximately 3 years. I think there's something to be said about the number 3. And it is on that 3 that I have now seen As I say, it seemed like I have done a quantum leap in discovering the gems in Genesis of chapter 1 and 2. In fact, I haven't really gone much further than 3. It's Genesis of chapter 1 and 3, but I keep going back to Genesis of chapter 1, verse 1 to 3. And this is where I have now discovered again, and it's becoming clearer, that when it is said, every time we say said, we are making reference to the serpent, the God who speaks, the God of language, the God of wisdom, the God who knows all languages, really. So in fact, I'm going on about the God, so, and I'm trying to get my trail of thought back. Yeah, so I kept going back to Genesis of chapter 3, and of course 3 is where that W is. That's another thing about 3, and that's why it's like Mother Eva got me, had just interjected in all this in and out, so I could really make reference to the number 3 as the W. So when we do things in threes, in essence, now this is really something. When we do things in threes, this gives us the right vibrational frequency to seeing our W, to seeing our reflection. Hence, again, with Christianity about the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, or the body, soul, and matter, or body, spirit, and matter. Or body, spirit. Okay, okay, but the 3 in 1, mind, body, and spirit. Yes. So, of course, thank you, Mother Eve. So basically, I had been doing Genesis. Now, Genesis is double 3. When we do the numerical value, I've got to give you this. I've got to give you this. There is just so much deliciousness in this. I want to do beginning. My stomach, I could feel my stomach is like impregnated with all this juicy ooze, wanting to ooze out. Okay, Genesis, Genesis. So 7555191. Now, Genesis, this is what I say. Anytime we see these 3 5s anywhere, I get excited by those. And also, in fact, so G in itself is already telling us, now, that's another thing, the G7. I reflected on one of my videos, and I noticed while I was deconstructing the word beginning, the G7 was talking to me, and I was trying to remember, well, what's G7 about? But it's the 7 countries that have this relationship in having all the money or economic structures or whatever it is in the world. So we can see how Genesis of chapter 1, or the word Genesis, is already telling us so much about ourselves. Everything we see around us, all the structures, are really there in the Bible, and it's on a mathematical construct of the Bible itself, which we are. So G equals 7. This is the thing. I think I'm going to just leave this one and call it G7. Okay, so G equals 7. Of course, so we have the letter and the numbers. That's the G7 countries we are talking about. It comes from right there. Now, of course, 7 and 7, because G is the value of 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. We are the 5-pointed star. We are number 5. That means when this consultation is happening in those countries, I've left out the S. Perhaps for some reason Mother Eve didn't want to have her signature behind these 7 countries. Okay, but when it means that we are readily being tapped into, of course, we cannot argue that whether it was 6 and 8 that we wouldn't find a correlation within us because we have all the numbers, but we are seeing right here what is happening in this very motion. Now 3 5s 15, let's do this. That would be 25 and that would be 26. I think I have done, oh 26, of course, plus 7 would be 33. That's it, 33. So we have 33. So when we hear about 33 degrees, 33 vertebrae, I think it's 33 vertebrae, okay, but we have 33 of something in our bodies. Okay, I need to get the I say vertebrae. Yes, I think it is. Okay, but if it's not, of course, please feel free to leave your comments and give me the correct 33, whatever it is we have down the spinal cord. It's supposed to be connected to a spinal cord. Okay, so we had those here. Now, of course, 3 5s 15 implicitly would show on our new, this is where would show on our new, because this is 3 5s 15, this is where they have tapped into the 5 again, tapped into the 5. They are not tapping into another end, or of course they have perhaps sucked hair dry, because this part here have been where the bait had been, we have been fed, we have been conditioned in this part. This first part has been, because it's a sac, S-A-C. That's the sacrifice template, by the way, in case you're new to this channel, and this is Mother Eve. So there we have this number 6 as well. This is our formative stages here, we could say, or where you are doing something in your primal stage or agreement, and it's more something, it is something that has a spiritual aspect, but it's actually followed by a physical action. You are being more doing jazzy stuff here. You are doing something pretty much light in this stage. You are trying your luck here. It's not like really heavy stuff, because you probably have someone telling you what to do, someone telling you what time to eat, what time to go school, how where you should sit on in the classroom, and those are the things that happen here. Of course, let's talk about classroom. We see CLAS is right there, and of course you are there in the middle of the classroom. You're in the middle of the class. So basically we see that how G7 has tapped into the core of people's makeup. Now, I don't like to speak like this so much as if to say that there is no hope. There is hope. We need to, once we understand our makeup, that we were made of 14 gods, because I think there is something with the G7. Oh, isn't it not 14 countries? I think it is 14 countries actually. It is 14 countries that call themselves the G7, but again, and I'm going to double check that, and that would mean that people have not perhaps made that. I hadn't myself, not until I'm doing this, I hadn't made the connection of the G and the 7, because G has the numerical value of 7. So obviously 2 7s are 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. We are the 5-pointed star. Your head, your 2 arms, your 2 hands, and your 2 feet. Or your that is put your feet apart, not like when Jesus Christ was crucified. That's where you see yourself a star. Of course, Jesus goes through that cycle and becomes a star after going through that cycle. In essence, that is what we are called to do. This is at one point we are saying, well, no more, particularly with the legs shut. down below, I am thinking that is very symbolic, in the sacrifice template, as sacrifice of number 4 is like saying, you know, I'm going to refrain from sex for a week. And you know, I think a week is very good here as well. That is 7 days, although in some cases it's 7 months, 7 years, you know. But be mindful of what we do. Once we are being mindful of what we do, especially in terms of the numbers, I can say, like when I was having my Kundalini activation, I was very conscious. I was on a sex fast. I didn't need to really, I was conscious about that, and I applaud myself for that, because I didn't feel that I needed to just go sleeping with someone or whatever it is, and I was honoring the sacredness, that sacredness, even if when I discovered that it was like, it was a reflection. It was that I was reflecting and saying, well, what am I meant to be doing here? How am I meant to prepare? And then I thought, okay, well, I don't have to worry about being with someone. I'll just refrain or not entertain going with someone now. Just keep my mind focused, because I'm already in flow. So we can use those things and say, okay, I have actually fasted. So now I have fasted. I am now doing a declaration of that cleansing that is happening, or the energies that I had entertained in my body. Now I want to ensure that I have shed myself, like Mother Eve would shed off the skin. And skin actually, that reminds, that really, skin is 8. Wow. So when the serpent or the snake sheds itself off the skin, this is also very symbolic that we need to get rid of it's the end of a cycle. It's really the end of a cycle, because the 8 is cycle. Wow. Thank you, wow. I'm just holding up the board and I've got it right here. That is Mother Eve in flow now. So basically, the 8 is the cycle that had been twisted. It's really an O. It is the nothing where we come from. This is the snake. This is the serpent. But it's of course, when it uncurls, it uncurls that way, it becomes 8. It has gone through doing all its jazz. It has gone through doing all its number 1, showing itself straight, showing itself as W, and the 4 points. It's gone north, south, east, and west. And so it forms that 8 after it's done the whole 9 miles, which is the journey. In this case, but 9 of course would be the journey of 7, which is the gypsy journey, or being the fox, because when we do number 6 is really 9, and so on. And of course we can see 7. I was doing this, and 7 is when 7 has been very arrogant and doing its observation. Of course, its head is so up in the air, it doesn't realize its other half, but its other half is on the ground and trips it down, you could say, and it of course comes like this. This is where the serpent now becomes something like this. Okay, now so this is the 8. Oh wow, this is 8. This is really so this is skin, S-K-I-N. It's like, we could see where it's the word skiing comes in. Of course, skiing, of course that makes sense, because you're sliding down. Anything like sliding, slippery, that's what the S is about, being slippery. The snake is. So we have 1, 2, 9, 5. Again, 9, 5 is 14, 15, 16, 17. So the skin is really God. Whenever we get 17, directly 17, and that's what scientists are showing us now, that the skin, of course, the largest organ of the body, is a receptor. It had not been discovered for a while. It's the the antennas, it's the receptor. We wonder why someone's looking at us because we have those frequencies that are igniting with their frequency. Okay. So I was saying, of course, with the skin, and Mother Eve now is like, of course, that's the thing. It's like Mother Eve, the serpent, is teaching us all the time. Is teaching us how to be balanced, how to get rid of certain parts or aspects of ourselves, how to love ourselves. That's why if you look very well, there'll be examples in your life where someone had done something that you were not really happy about, but it turned out to be the best thing. It might have been being sacked from your job. It might have been some people, I've heard some people even had breakdown and say that, again, that's the word breakdown. That's the word breakdown. The eight have to be broken down. That's where the skin had to be shed. The serpent sheds its skin. So the skin, the number 8, have to be broken down. This is where, when 8 is broken down, and that's why our structures of headquarters zone, which is where we go through, they have all our data, all our particulars, everything, and they collate everything about us, and we are not happy with it. But then we could also learn how to have this mere information in itself help us to stir us in a direction where we want to put ourselves in a position, well, I don't really want these people hassling me anymore, and it's not going to cost me so much to follow that protocol that they have put in place or whatever. And it's not, of course, that is with having a view of the greater good of all concerned, but or it may be that you decide, okay, I really don't want anything to do with that organization in headquarters zone. I am happy to go and live in the forest and set up a tent there and live for the rest of my life there with the serpents. You may want to do that or decide on doing that, but the serpent is helping us either way. So that is okay. I'm going to keep this short, and hopefully that well, no, do join me again, and hope you have enjoyed this. Do enjoy this. And let us make this a joyful, enlightening, prosperous, abundant, and insightful, exciting journey to actualizing self-love. Thank you. Namaste. And spill over with love.